This is a constructed tournament that we had at FAB Foundry in Portland, Oregon at the beginning of March. This was a win-a-box tournament, so we had a pretty good turnout for it. I think the final count was 23 players. The top of the screen is Josh playing an Imposter deck, and then Vince is at the bottom playing Enchantress. So they're doing mulligans at the moment right now. Josh, I think, is on or no, they're gonna get started. Josh's Imposter deck is I think it's built more around I want to say water and air. So turn one, he's gonna get a Maelstrom out here. Vince drawing a spell for turn here, getting an active Volcano out, which will help him on thresholds. Passing turn. Enchantress is a deck that I've always wanted to play. I just have never made the time for it. And there's a certain allure to being able to play some of those formerly niche auras in the game now with the state of the current meta. So things like Drought, things like Rest in Peace, they weren't very appealing to play before, but now if you're playing in an Enchantress deck and you're in those elements, it suddenly becomes very appealing because the chances of Drought being relevant with a water dominant meta in constructed play are very good, and the chances of Rest in Peace being relevant in a Gothic controlled environment are relatively good. Josh getting out a bottomless pit into the center of the board here, and then playing a mismanaged mortuary, but playing it forward. I'm not entirely sure why he chose to play it forward and not back behind the Maelstrom. My only thought there is that he's chosen to pay 3 to flip into a Pathfinder with his Imposter, and he doesn't want to get capped on sites by leaving a lane open here, and allowing Vince to play sites all the way up to his Maelstrom, which, like, turn 3 Pathfinder always feels a little risky to me. Just if they have some sort of projectile response, they're just going to ping the mask right off of you. A great turn 3 play here with a Lugbog Cat right onto his home site Maelstrom. And we're gonna see a Pathfinder flip here and figure out where he's gonna go. He's choosing to build out with the floodplain on the opposite side of the mortuary column. Brings him to 4 mana for the turn here, and he needs to be able to deal with the cat, and he does with an Into the Abyss, pulling it into the void, banishing it. Passing turn back here. Again, I think it would have actually, I'm not sure if it would have been a stronger play to play the Mismanaged Mortuary on the back row or not, just because I think maybe I'm in favor of that, just because it forces Vince to have to commit to drawing another site and playing the site out, and extending forward if needed. But again, I think maybe thinking about it some more, I think that this it probably was a correct play here with this Enchantress matchup, just because you want to create those void pockets to really limit what they're going to be able to do with the auras once they get them out. Vince having mostly a dead turn there, playing out Fields of Camelon. Can't make use of the Genesis. Well, I guess it's not exactly a dead turn. He got the stag out. Josh with a thin ice, advancing forward. Again, I think he's scared of getting capped on sites before he gets up to whatever like site ceiling he needs to be at for his deck, whether it be like 5 or 6 or 7 or 8. It just depends on what he's trying to accomplish here with his deck and what kind of mana base he needs, if he has a greedier mana base or a more late game mana base requirement. Setting up 5 mana. The Thin Ice in a good position, adjacent to the fields. He needs the other piece to make that work. He needs like a Koi Nixie. He needs a Koi Nixie, or he needs a minion with Submerge he can drop on there. 4 for Captain Balthasar, and passing turn, the captain in a position to attack in. I think he chose to play that there and not on the Mismanaged Mortuary, just because he doesn't want to feed the stag for free. It does present a threat that Vince has to deal with here. The stag attacking him for 4. Vince stepping up with the Enchantress, playing a Wildfire. So the Wildfire going to deal 3 points of damage to the Avatar at the end of turn here, and 3 points to Captain Balthasar to kill it. End of turn, it takes a step. So at the end of every turn, the Wildfire will take a step, and it cannot backtrack onto sites that it's already visited, or it dispels itself. So a really great advantageous play for Vince here on his, I think that's turn 5, right? Passing turn back to Josh. The Imposter no longer wearing a mask. He's sitting at 5 mana. Needs to figure out a response, if he has one, to the stag or to the Wildfire. I think it's less likely that he has a response to the Wildfire right now. It's not animated, it is still just an aura. So that really kind of limits the ways that Josh can interact with that thing. He would need a dispel or a disenchant. And at this point, I'm not even sure if he's in those colors. I thought he was water air. But I could be wrong. All I'm seeing so far is water on his site here, on his sites here. So they're just double checking how Wildfire works, which is important information for Josh to have. Important information for Josh to have at in terms of how to deal with this thing. He's tapping for another Thin Ice, bringing his mana base to 6. And I think he drew that site for turn, and probably because he wanted to get that Green Knight out. So 6 mana to get the Green Knight out. It cannot force it's going to force an attack with the stag. It can't trade with the stag because it's only going to deal 3 points of damage, and also the stag is warded. But it's at least going to pop off the ward. So we get untap, start the turn here, and then the stag is required to attack. So like all nearby enemies that can't attack must. Josh just commenting that this is his first game actually having to play against an Enchantress. Enchantress not not a widely played avatar. It looks like a real fun avatar, and it has a lot of interesting tricks that it can do. It is a complicated avatar, and it has a lot of like very special, like specific rules to how it interacts with auras, which I think is a barrier for entry for people to want to play it. It's really fun to see it being played in our local meta here. So Vince, still at the beginning of his turn, the stag took its compulsory attack, sitting a 4-man in his mana pool with sights. Enchantress is forward because he had to take that step when he cast the wildfire. Tapping to draw a sight. And then 4 mana for turn, just going to see what he can do there with 4 mana. Vince double checking how the Green Knight's going to work, how that ability is going to work there. 4 mana for an infiltrate to infiltrate the Green Knight. He's choosing not to animate the wildfire, and I think he's choosing not to animate it because the only place that it can go is the bottomless pit, and if he had animated it, it would have died immediately when it enters the bottomless pit. But since it's just an aura still, at the end of turn it takes its compulsory step, and it is just now sitting as an aura on top of the bottomless pit. Josh, starting his turn here. I think he's at 6 mana in his mana pool, right? Yeah, 6 mana because he played the Green Knight previous turn. That was 6. They're talking through how an infiltrated Green Knight with stealth works. It forces a compulsory attack, but if the Green Knight itself has stealth, minions can't target and attack a stealth minion. So like the effect on the Green Knight kind of fizzles, just because the minions aren't allowed to attack it. So I think he was just using about like he would be somewhat safe to play a minion there if he needed to, just because it's not going to be required. It's not going to be required to take that attack on Vince's turn when he passes turn. Imposter, another really cool avatar to see. It's really cool to see that being played here in our local meta. The jury is still out on like how strong of an avatar that is in like the game's like top meta, but it just feels like a really fun avatar, a really flexible avatar with what you can do with it. He's got a lot of mana for turn here, and he's just thinking really hard because he's on the back foot with board presence. Tapping to draw a sight. Sitting at again just 6 mana. It feels like a lot of mana, so it feels like he should be able to have a play or 2 on this turn if he needs to. He's got a lot of cards in his hand as well. He's got a lot of cards. But I think Josh is just thinking through what to do here and how to get himself out of this position. It definitely feels like Vince is in control of the game. I think both of these decks, to a certain extent, wanting to be control decks, and Vince getting the upper hand for the moment here. Paying 3 mana for an Enchantress. Oh, it was a really good thought. It was a really good thought from Josh. He wanted to pay 3 to turn the Imposter into Enchantress, and then he wanted to cast an Omphalos to animate the Wildfire and cause it to die on the pit. But because the Bottomless Pit only triggers when a minion enters it, and the Wildfire already exists on the site, it's not going to work the way he thinks it's going to work. So he chooses not to do the Enchantress and just play the Omphalos. Also, critically, I think that Josh thinks that he has more mana than he actually has. I'm only counting 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 sites, so 6 mana. For some reason he thinks he has 7. So he's thinking that he has seven mana. That's why he thought he could do the Enchantress for 3 and the Omphalos for 4. But he would have just been a little bit short. End of turn, the Wildfire takes its compulsory step, and Vince choosing to step it onto the Mortuary. It's going to deal damage, but I mean, like, it deals damage to those minions, but it's not enough to kill them at end of turn. They're both going to survive into Vince's next turn here. Vince tapping the Enchantress. Tapping the Enchantress to play a site. Looks like he's deciding where to go with it. Just Vince musing that he doesn't have a lot of attack vectors at the moment. Like, the only site he could attack into is the Mortuary right now. Looks like an Oasis. Yeah, just gonna play the Oasis adjacent to that second Thin Ice, just in case he needs the launching platform there. 3 for a Lugbog Cat onto the back row there. In choosing to enchant the Wildfire with that Lugbog Cat, and then getting an attack in with both the Stag and the Wildfire. 8 points of damage. End of turn, the Wildfire takes its compulsory step, and Vince still has not had to cross back over onto a site that the Wildfire has already been on. He's gotten kind of like the dream scenario in terms of value that you're going to get from a Wildfire, in terms of like where it's positioned, how it moves across the board. It's just survived a ton of turns here, and it's still threatening to be able to attack in again for another 4 points of damage at some point. Josh playing a Floodplain. That does bring him to 7 mana. Seven mana, and he's taking that back. He's thinking, he's thinking about that again. So right now, again, he's still at 6 mana in his mana pool with sites. Potentially, he has another play to make this turn instead. The Omphalos draw at end of turn there. He's keeping the Omphalos cards under the Maelstrom for some reason. Maybe that's just easier for him to track, to make that site less cluttered, or something. It seems like a personal choice on how he's tracking those Omphalos cards. he's still very much on the back foot here. I mean, it's just like every turn, Vince continuing to grow board state, grow pressure. He's got a lot of minions on the board here, and Josh just hanging, like dangling, on the verge of death's door. Imposter tapping to play a site. Instead of the floodplain, he is playing a bottomless pit. So that will bring him again, yeah, to 7 mana for the turn. He's thinking very hard about what to do here. 7 mana feels like a lot of mana, and ideally, like, you want to have some sort of response. You want to have some sort of response that you can make with 7 mana. 3 for a swap. 3 for a swap will certainly take care of one of Josh's problems here, swapping with the Stag and the Omphalos. Stag immediately entering the bottomless pit and dying. Omphalos still on his own sites, so still able to cast any minions it may draw in its hands onto its site. Swap is 3 mana, that leaves him with 4 left on the turn here. 4 mana, still needs a way to deal with, ideally, the Lugbog, and he's got that Green Knight being a problem. Instead, just paying 3 mana to turn into a Wave Shaper and then passing turn here. Josh, I think, still getting reps in with the Imposter deck. When you can, I think the Imposter deck is strongest when you can pay the 3 to turn into an avatar and then make use of its ability in some capacity immediately on that turn, so you get that value out. I think there's just a danger of paying 3 to set up your avatar for the next turn, and then having your opponent be able to somehow get some damage on it, ping it somehow, and knocking the mask off immediately before you have a chance to do it. But it looks like he's gearing up, I think, to make a play here, and it is slightly telegraphed, right? He still has a floodplain in his hand, so he has some tricks he can do with that. He has the Wave Shaper out now to be able to tap down and get some tempo with the pieces on the board here. Vince still has that Wildfire roaming about, but there's really only like one more place it can go here right now. It can't attack in a Final Blaze of Glory into the bottomless pit because it would die immediately if he chose to animate it. At the end of this turn, it will move over though to the fields of Camlin. Vince taking the opportunity here to strike Josh to door. 4 from the cat and then 1 from the Enchantress itself. The Enchantress has, the bottomless pit has no effect on the Enchantress because it's an avatar unit, not a minion. And getting dangerously close here to Josh with his avatar next to him. For a kill shot on the next turn. Vince still I think has not made a play yet. Yeah, casting a drought for 4. Drought for 4. I think he called animating the Wildfire, though I'm not sure why. I don't think there's really a ton of benefit to doing that. I think they missed the Wildfire trigger, so the Wildfire does have to take a step. I think it should be on Fields of Camlin at the end of Vince's turn there. The Drought's in a dangerous position just because no matter where the Wave Shaper goes, if the Drought still exists, Vince has a place to step and attack in with it. So I think that just puts a lot of pressure on Josh here, just because he has to be able to deal with the drought. Vince catching that the wildfire had to move, so he moves it over on the Fields of Camelon at the end of his turn. It's not like a may move. It's a compulsory. It is required to take that step at the end of every turn, not just your turn, but your turn and your opponent's turn. Josh again sitting on 7 mana on his turn here, and I think just probably trying to figure out a way to get himself out of this jam. I mean, I think that the greatest threat right now is the drought, and honestly, like there's a lot of other ways that he could die on Vince's turn. It just depends on what kill spells he has. I mean, Vince is in fire. Any burn spell is going to do it. If he has a minor explosion, if he has a firebolt, if he has a Colicky Dragonet. Josh tapping to flood the bottomless pit. Playing a Riptide to force in the Green Knight. So killing his own infiltrated Green Knight just to remove it from the board. He can do that because Riptide does not target the unit. It just pulls it in if it's into a nearby water site. Getting a card draw from that. That's 2 mana spent. He has 5 left. Four for a self-same, to self-same the cat, and then 2 more to Riptide in. The cat back into the flooded bottomless pit. This is a misplay from Josh. I'm counting 4. Is it 8 mana to cast all of those things, and he only has 7 sites out. I think he got tripped up there because he was thinking like, I have 7 mana now, or I could potentially have 8 if I tapped for a floodplain. It doesn't matter though. Vince on his next turn playing out that Lord of Lies, animating the drought, forcing an attack, a strike with the drought, a fight with the drought and the imposter. So what a fun game to watch. It's just really fun seeing these avatars that maybe don't get as much play, don't see as much spotlight, because they are more technical avatars. And like I said, the barrier of entry is a little higher to play them. You have to like be more confident in like the rules of the game, and like want to kind of play in that space that is a little weirder to play things like Enchantress and play things like Imposter. So a super fun game to see here between Vince and Josh, and that was round 2 of this series. We'll move on to round 3 next.